Hello guys, welcome in today's crypto technical analysis. Today, as usual, we're going to discuss the BTC price actions. However, before we start, I've got a small request as usual. If you guys are learning and enjoying from the content, do not forget to like the video, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe and activate the bell so you do not miss the accurate market updates. Before we move on to the chart, I would like to draw your attention in the recent updates. Yesterday morning, there was an update that I was saying there is not much change. And without claiming the resistance number 2, as you can see, it was around 44,000 above and 45,400 levels. Without claiming that level, it will be too early to say something. However, 30 and 60 minute time frames are under the bull's control, but it's not enough. As I kept mentioning that if you're in a range or higher time frames are heavily under the bear's control, a lower time frame is not something reliable unless you're scalping. At the same time, we got rejection right from the lower line of this resistance, and that provided 3.5% profit. However, we're going to discuss in details in a minute. But at the same time, under 1 hour time frame that I mentioned in the previous video, and exactly as expected, it was $100 difference. We held the upper line of this support number 1, and price action started moving towards the resistance number 1 and the resistance number 2. And then after that, I said, I don't like what the buyers are doing here. Looks like quite weak under a lower time frame. And in less than 1 hour, we had another nearly dollar to dollar rejection, upper line of the resistance number 1. And that provided in less than 1 hour over 3% spot profit. When you're in a range, we call it the range is a scalper's heaven. And with a 10 times leverage, 30%, 5 times 15% profit, you will get instant and market updates always via Twitter. If you're not following me, you can follow at the Magnate. Moving on to a daily time frame. If we're going to analyze the current condition of the daily time frame, as soon as we lost $48,000 daily time frame, as you remember, based on a time factor, that was expected. First expectation was 0.66. On the time factor, we got rejection. However, the second one was from 48,800 level all the way. We sent the price action right inside the support number 1 as expected. And I also provided the timeline as well. However, the daily time frame is quite weak. Without claiming the resistance number 2, ideally the upper line of this resistance and staying above, which is around 45,400, I would say $46,000, it is slightly early for us to talk about the bullish scenario. As long as we're going to be claiming above the resistance number 2, the daily time frame will give us a bullish signal. Moving on to 4 hour time frame. As soon as we lost the resistance number 3, it was acting as a support. Price action, as expected, we came all the way up to the support number 1. And as you see, we tested number of times, 4 times. At the moment, we may test again the support number 1. However, as I mentioned in the last video, under 1 hour time frame, as long as we're going to be above this week, which was around 40,693, and we came all the way up to 40,800 with a $100 difference. We came all the way inside this support number 1, and then price actions started moving towards the upside, and that was expected. However, I also mentioned under mid time frame as well as the low time frame, this resistance number 2 is going to be quite significant for the bulls to break this level. And then as you can see, as soon as we stayed above the support number 1, all the way we targeted this resistance number 2, that provided over 8% spot profit. If you're doing a leverage 10 times 80%, 5 times a decent leverage, 40% profit in less than 48 hours. However, at the same time, we did expect that the price action highly likely gonna get a rejection. As I said, 4 hour time frame is heavily under the bear's control. In the coming 48 to 72 hours, we have to break and stay above the resistance number 3. However, it is early for us to talk about it. But in the coming 3 to 5 days, if we're going to claim resistance 2, then 4 hour will be under the bull's control. However, to talk about the bullish scenario, it's slightly early for us to talk about at this stage. In order to see bullish and bearish scenario, we have to move on to the lower time frames. Before we move on to the lower time frame and multiple time frame analysis, if you want to learn all this technical analysis, what I'm showing, and if you want to become an independent professional trader, or you're interested in the institutional trading system, you can message me via Telegram at Magnate8, and one-on-one intense masterclass is available, where I'm going to teach you how to become a profitable trader in the market. and it only takes you 5 to 10 hours to master this all. And during the course, you will learn day trading, i.e. scalping, swing, and as well as the long-term as an investor trading systems. Moving on to 2-hour time frame. Under 2-hour time frame, similar structure as a 4-hour time frame. As soon as we lost the resistance number 3, which was acting as a support, 2-hour went heavily under the bear's control. However, this was a deviation, which I mentioned in the previous videos, and there was another rejection as expected in the market. The current condition of 2-hour time frame is heavily under the bear's control. So the primary level, that the upper line of this resistance, as you can see, we've got a confluence with a point of control. However, without claiming the resistance number 2, it is slightly early for us to talk about the bullish scenario under 2-hour time frame. If we're going to lose the upper line of this support number 1, which is around $41,000, highly likely the price action will come in the first place, 39,800, 700 levels. If we're going to lose that level as well, then we will come all the way up to the upper line of this support number 2. That's going to be around 38,300, 38,500 level. However, it is again slightly early for us to talk about it. As long as we're going to be, this is extremely important level, as long as we're going to be above the support number 1, highly likely in the coming days that we're going to break this resistance number 1 as well as the resistance number 2. But the main and challenging, the resistance is going to be for us 47,000, 46,500 levels. 1-hour time frame. Under 1-hour time frame, as long as we're going to be in the next 48 hours above the resistance number 1 at the same time, perfect confluence with a point of control, and then 1-hour time frame will be under the bull's control. However, still we will have a heavy resistance at around resistance number 2 as well as the resistance number 3. And that's why I was keep mentioning that if you're a swing trader, you better choose your correct time frames. Do not rely on to lower time frames. At the same time, on the lower time frame and mid time frame, I'm following these Fibonacci levels. You can see that was a deviation, and then as a result we had a China 5. And if you want to find out how we played this price action, you can search the Twitter history. However, and as you can see, we've got a perfect confluence with the lower line of this resistance number 2, and that matched with the 0.66, the golden zone, and exactly we got a rejection right from there. And that was expected, as I said. As soon as we got a rejection from there, we had over 6%, 6.5% spot profit. And if you're doing a leverage, you did the maths for yourself. We did analysis, the rejection from this level, which I mentioned via Twitter yesterday morning. However, if we're going to analyze this price action, as soon as I tweeted, you can copy the link for the Twitter and paste it, and you will see where we got the rejection from. And as you can see, that was, as soon as I mentioned that, 27th of September, 10:30, that was a UTC time, that I said, I don't like what the buyers are doing here on the lower time frame. Looks like quite weak. And as you can see, on the 15-minute time frame, that's for scalpers, exactly right from the upper line of this resistance number 1. As soon as I posted it, we had a rejection. If one took this signal, that provided already over 4% profit. However, this trade is quite dangerous, and this is for only professional traders. We are in a range. The range, always we call it, is a heaven for the scalpers. And then that provided, as I said, 4% plus spot profit. 10 times 40%, 5 times 20% in less than a couple of hours. We did cover the bullish and bearish scenario. However, at the moment, lower time frame, mid time frames are heavily under the bear's control. Play level to level, and we came to an end of this episode. And if you guys enjoyed it, do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.